Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what terrified me the most leading up to the birth of our second child. I was afraid that it was going to end up exactly the way our first did. We ended up with a beautiful, happy, healthy boy, but my wife was 7 days post-date, and they told us to induce, and she had a C-section, a longer than normal recovery, a bout with depression, and we both ended up with a lot of questions. So I wanted to do everything I could to fix that. So that's where I was, what I was feeling. That's what I was thinking when she came home and said, we were 2 months probably into the pregnancy, and she came home and said, let's hire a doula. And to me, that was kind of opposite of what I was thinking, because the doula was different. We didn't hire a doula with our first, but it was also, to me, meant that there was less that I could do to fix it. So ultimately, we thought about it, we talked about it, and you know, I realized she was right. She assured me that there were plenty of things that I can do. And you know, so we went through the process, and again, I'm trying to find ways that I can fix things. And we get approached to her due date, and we still don't have a baby. So I'm thinking, what can I do? So I get online. There's this place in Atlanta, Georgia, called Scalini's. They have this eggplant parmesan that is apparently people have heard about it, but there's this. It's guaranteed to induce labor, and there's like 38 different herbs and spices and ingredients, and it takes like 4.5 hours to create it. But I'm in the kitchen creating it. Like I go to the store, get all the stuff, and put it together, and I'm measuring everything down to the exact herbs, or to the exact, like, you know, number of grains of salt in the teaspoon, like to get everything perfect, because I was going to get it right, because I was going to make sure that you know, everything went differently. So we served it up. We had a great dinner. We didn't have a baby, so at least not yet. We had taken these Hypnobabies classes, and that was something that I could get behind, because that was something I could do. Like I was there at the classes, like I was there to help, and I was there to normal me would say that's, you know, it's probably not gonna, you know, wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into it, but at this time I was 100% behind it, because it was something different and something that I could help out with. And so I went so far, there was this positive affirmation CD that we had in her car, but whenever I drove, I would leave it in, because I didn't want to scratch the CD. So I was like I was a strong, powerful woman, and all this, listening to that over and over, and you know, I didn't want to do anything to mess it up. So we get to so I was always there, you know, leading the charge to do something different. Every day I'd come home from work, a coworker told me train tracks. So we got in the car and we drove back and forth over train tracks, and that didn't do anything. And neither did the you know, I invited her down, and she met me for lunch, and we went bowling for babies. We thought the simple act of, like, you know, throwing a 10-pound ball repeatedly 100 feet down a bowling alley, or however long a bowling lane is, we thought that would do something, but nothing until she took some castor oil, 10 days post-date, and finally that got things moving. So you know, I was excited that, you know, I called up the birth center, and they said, hey, you know, how's she doing? Things are going well, and they said, all right, it's time to come in. So I drove her in, and you know, they say they take us to her room, and she says, they say, do you want to get into the tub? She said yes, and so she's in the tub, and things are progressing, and again, you know, things are going, and if she were telling the story, she'd tell you about the pain and the contractions and all of that. But, in my mind, I was just thinking about how wonderful and how incredible, like how this is actually happening, and how incredible she is, and how amazing this is, and how, they say that it's empowering for a woman to be able to get up, to go and give birth. But to watch somebody that you love do that as well is incredibly transformational, to watch them go through that process as well. So I was thinking about all of that, as they say, as somebody else, as I heard out of my right ear, get in the tub. And I thought, well, wait, she's already in the tub. And they're like, no, somebody's got to catch the baby. So I get in the tub. They say, look down. I can see her head. I see my wife, but I see our baby's head coming. And then a couple more contractions, and our baby's in my hand. And so there was plenty for me to do, because I got to catch our baby and got to be the first one to hold her. And I passed her to Kylie and thought of all the stuff that I tried to control throughout the process, and none of it mattered, because right then everything was perfect.